All right, y'all. Well, a whole pile of you tuned in to see our kitchen counter redo. I mean, way more of y'all did that than ever watched my fishing videos. And I don't understand because my fishing videos are much more interesting than this stuff. But anyway, this is 5 years down the road and that stuff is still doing great. And we decided that we wanted to try to do our bathroom counter. Now, when we went and priced this bathroom counter, which is only 79 inches long, not the middle, but just right below on the middle was about $800 just for this little countertop. And we said, you know what, we like that stuff we use in the kitchen so much, let's get it. And when we looked, they've got a new stuff out, and it's called LuxRock. And we decided, picked out a color we like that we're going to try. So you're going to get to go along with it with us. This is what all you get in the box. You get all the product, you get the applicator stuff, you get a little sanding block for roughing up, you get stir sticks, you get gloves, you get a mask, you get the little applicator deal, and the primer and everything that goes with it. So literally everything for your stuff comes in that little old kit, which is fine and dandy. Of course, I've got better gloves and I've got a better mask, so I'm going to be using that. You guys do not want to see me break this down. There's a lot of other folks out there that can show you how to take sinks and stuff like that off. I'm not going to worry with y'all with that because, and you don't even have to take them off. You can mask it. It says it in the instructions. I would recommend if you're doing this, at least lift them up and work underneath and put them back. We are going to replace the sinks, faucets. We're going to redo a lot of the stuff in here anyway. So all this is coming out. I'm going to start prepping this right now. It says all you gotta do is clean and degrease. I'm gonna rough it. I'm gonna chamfer the edge a little bit just because that was one thing we thought on the kitchen was that if it had a little bit of a rounded edge here, it would just have a better transition and a better look. So I'm fixing to do that with the sander. Let's get after it. Alright, y'all, so we've got it all sanded. My bride came in and degreased everything, wiped everything down. We've got it all taped off. So now we're ready for the first step, the primer coat. Now, following the instructions, when you open the boxes, literally this thing says step 1 on it. So I'm pretty good with stuff that tells me step 1. So that's what we're going to go with. We're going to stir it well, get ready to roller applicate it, and then the little 1-inch brush for going along the edges. So let's see what we can do. You know I really suck at painting. You want to do that part? It's been a few hours, so this is thoroughly dry now. We went ahead, this is part 2. This is the actual LuxRock stone coat, so he's got a 2 on the can. And you're going to have to thoroughly stir this up so you can use a drill attachment or the sticks. But stir from the bottom just to stir it up. So we're going to go ahead and get that part done and put the first coat. This is going to be 1 coat of this, and this is all going to be brushed and rolled on, and then 4 to 6 hours later you're going to smear or spread a thicker coat. So this is going to be the first coat of the stone. There's a ton of color, sparkles. That's just the first coat. So after this sets for overnight for us, we'll come back and put the second coat on here. Alright, y'all, so that's part of the problem with following the instructions and then watching videos too, is follow the instructions. We did exactly what it said about rolling and brushing. So we went and decided to go back and watch the product videos because they've got a video online. And it has doing the first coat using the spreader as well as we know the second coat was supposed to use a spreader. So we're going to go back and put a little bit more on top of it. This has only been on here about 20 minutes. We just went and watched that video. So just so you know, it looks like that's what you're supposed to do. So, you know, once again, the written instructions, yeah, a little bit to be desired. All right, y'all, so just so you can see what the little spreader looks like, what it's doing when I'm putting it on and putting it on here a little thicker, and then it makes tracks in it. And I'll show you, you can see, I don't know how well you can see with the light with the tracks. Now watch what happens when she comes back across with the brush. It just smooths, it takes all the peaks off of that. and makes it much more uniform. So the spreader gets it where it needs to go, but the brush is definitely giving it the finesse. Alright, so we let it stay overnight. I'm going to come back in with the second coat this morning. Now the second coat in the instructions is when it said to use this thing. Now the video they used it on the first coat, and we got to admit, for us it was a little easier to put it on with this as far as trying to get that 1/16 inch thick coat on there. So I would recommend using this on your first coat as well, so just for reference. We're going to put it on, let her smooth it out. We'll show you as soon as we get done. Okay, second coat applied. Try to get as absolutely uniform as possible, because the better preparation you can have at this point, you know, we won't be sanding for hours and hours and hours at the next point. So alright, so we've had a 24-hour cure, and according to the instructions, it is time to start sanding. Now, I taped up my shop vac to try to hopefully knock down some of the dust on this thing. So we're going to hit it first with 120 and then go to 180 according to the instructions. So said it still will have a little texture to it when you're done with that. You know, the rest of that's going to cover up with the epoxy, but you want to get it down to where there's no peaks and valleys. So I'm going to try to get that part done this morning. Just keep checking this with your hand. You can feel it. For the places that are difficult to get to, like the top and the back in the corner over here, the little hand sponge works real well. Just I already had 2 spots that I went right around the edge that I went over a little bit too much with the sander, and then 1 spot back here in the back when I hit on the edge. I'm gonna have to come back and touch up this spot and this spot, but overall it's feeling real good. So other than a couple little old boo-boos. How easy it is to see, but you can see where I got a little aggressive with the sander right in that spot, and then right along just a 6 or 7 inch edge right here. So be very careful up against corners and going over your corners. Alright, you take a damp rag, it says very damp, and we're wiping all the dust. You want to get all the dust from the sanding, which you vacuum most of it up, but this is just going to get every little bit of extra off of it, or else you end up with a cloudy finish. So this is just one of the steps. Alright, everything's dried up. Angie actually had to wipe it down with the rags probably 4 or 5 times, and she wipe, wring it out, come back, do it again until it got to where they were coming off clean. So now we're going to do, this is the step 3, which is the stone conditioner. So that's going on next. This is a roll on and a brush on. So we'll roll all the flat surfaces and then brush the hard to get to stuff. So alright, we got the sealer on there, and you can take your light and shine it at an angle just to see if there's any spots that you missed. There's a lot of really thin stuff sticking up, so it's almost fuzzy looking. And you can see that. That's all going to go in with the epoxy coating, and then the wet sanding, and then the next layer of epoxy over top of it. So I'm not concerned. I don't know how well that shows up, but it's pretty flat to the touch after we went over with that 180. So now this is a 2-hour dry before we can apply the first coat of epoxy. Alright, so we're moving forward with the stone set epoxy. You see this is a part A and a part B, and there's enough room in A's can, so we're going to mix it all together in here. It's supposed to be mixed for 3 minutes and then applied, and you want to apply it wet and liberally. So and then watch the edge. So we went ahead and put plastic down because I know it'll drip off the side. So, and we'll have to watch the front of the cabinets to make sure we don't leak down there. But we're ready to start that process. I can tell you from fooling with fishing rods and epoxy, don't whip that epoxy. Just stir it. So the more air bubbles you put in it, yourself, the more trouble you're going to have. Alright, it's applied, and it's tough to tell how thick to apply. We put it on there wet, like it said. You got to watch out so it doesn't pool along the back side. We're watching that, watching to make sure we don't have drips come over the front and hang down like stalactites. So we'll just kind of monitor this for the next 15-20 minutes, because it says about 30 minutes working time. So I'm sure it'll start solidifying pretty good about that time, but it's on. We'll see. All right, today's wet sanding day. So you can see it's got, I mean, it's gorgeous, shiny, but it's got a lot of little spikes and what they call pimples. So I'm going to be wetting everything down. They provide a 400 grit sandpaper, so we're going to be working on that, get all this stuff knocked down, and then we'll go over that top coat. I wrapped the 400 around the sanding sponge that came with it, because these front and back pieces, you don't want to run the machine on it according to the instructions. So this part of it's by hand, but it's going very fast. It's amazing how smooth it makes it. Just keep it good and wet. Angie's doing the wipe down after the wet sand to get all the, you want to get every bit of chalky media off, because anything that you leave on here now is going to transmit into the finished surface. So it's going to look like it's all scuffed once it's dried up. They said don't worry about that, the clear coat will take care of that, but you do not want to leave any powder on top of it. Alright, here we are to step 5. This is the top clear. We wet sanded, we wiped, and then we let it dry, and then we wiped again, and it passed the clean hand test. So we're fixing to put the top clear on, and it says be particular to only roll in one direction. You don't want to make bubbles in this section, so we're just going to do it smooth, very little pressure, and work from here. Alright, it's been 2+ hours since the top coat, first of the stage 5. Now we're coming back to do a second coat on it. It looks really good. I will say right now there's a couple spots that I didn't sand as well as I think I should have. It'll be interesting to see how much the top coat takes out of those, but they're right here in the front, and it's just, you can kind of feel them. So I wish I'd have been more aggressive with the sanding there, but I was scared to be too aggressive with sanding, honestly. So, but we're going to go ahead and do this next coat. This is going to sit for 24 hours. Then we'll come back and see what it looks like. Alright y'all, we're going to unveil this here in a minute. You can see it's been a lot happened in this bathroom, so we're kind of proud of it. We're happy for us. I think some comments that we probably should add is that, especially for her who's been sick this whole week, she's been running a fever most of the week while we've been working on this stuff. But there was very few fumes.
Very few.
One stage had a little more, bit. But I mean the epoxy was no scent. I mean there was nothing that we needed to, like, we sleep in the next room, so there was nothing that,
no problems.
Yeah, so just as that kind of thought. Probably if we'd known better, we would have been a little bit more aggressive on the sanding of the stone part, because I left a little bit of texture. I was afraid to over sand it, and I left a little bit of texture, and there's just a tiny bit. I'll show that to you. I'll bring the camera over here and we'll get you a little close up on it.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, we really like the product. It's got a lot of sparkle, got a lot of color.
Yeah.
It's a good hard surface, looks good. I think it's going to be plenty durable. If it's as durable as the stuff that's in the kitchen on the old house is, because that's still going on over 5 years now and doing well.
Yeah.
So, but for a husband-wife project, not afraid to screw it up yourselfers, you know, I think it turned out really good. It's definitely something that normal mortals can do, and I was very appreciative of her help and keep me from breaking everything in sight. She also painted everything. We swapped out the mirror, the lights, sinks, faucets, so it's been a pretty big makeover. Hey, let's show it.
Yeah.
Alright, so just kind of get a little closer. I don't know how well. See, all this is real smooth, but there's a couple spots here that I would have liked to have been a little bit more aggressive on the sanding right here along the edge. There's texture, and just because the epoxy slides down here, so there's a little bit of texture. I don't know how easy it is to see that, but I mean, to me it looks nice. We like the way it looks. So you can see there's the new mirrors and light fixtures, and there she is over there, and so she had a little color. So everything new paint on the walls. So it's been a fun project. as fun as projects can be, but that's it. So you got any questions, hit us up. Hope you liked it. Y'all take care.